I'm a focus. There you go. So I wanted to create this vlog. I wasn't planning on doing a vlog on Everless, but I did create some content before, so you'll see that sprinkled through. But I just had a lot of thoughts on Everless, and I wanted to discuss them. Hey guys, so I just finished Everless by Sara Holland, and I wasn't planning on doing a vlog about this, but I had a lot of feelings behind it, so I wanted to talk about it with you guys and see what you thought. So how I'm going to film these videos is I'm going to give you a first non-spoiler section with the 3 things that I liked about it and the 3 things I didn't like, and then a second section where I go into the more spoilery details about it. That way I can really tell you my feelings about the book. So Everless basically follows a girl named Jules in a world where time is exchanged like currency. So basically the very poor are taxed, and they use their blood to create these blood coins that in turn can be used to purchase food or pay the rent, or whereas the higher members of the society can use it to basically extend their life for centuries. I have so many feelings about this book, and that's mostly why I wanted to talk to you guys about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the 3 things that I didn't care for in the book, and then and I'll end on the good note with the 3 things that I did like about this book. So the first problem I had with this book was that Jules made some really dumb decisions. Like, I felt like they were not logical, they didn't really make sense, and she just came across very dense because of that, and I did not like that at all, especially since she was the main character. And I'll go into that a lot more in the spoiler side because I have a lot of feelings about it. The decision making was just very poor on her end. The second problem I had with it was there was a very like insta love kind of feel to it, but it was basically Jules grew up in the kingdom, so she grew up playing with the princes, and she still had this obsession from when she was 7 years old with one of the princes, and it was not just like she had fond memories of him and, you know, they'd connect again when they get in the castle. No, it was she was still in love with him from when she was 7, and that's just not realistic. And again, I'll go into that a bit more in the spoiler part of the review. The third problem that I had with this book was a lot of the problems that occurred could have been completely resolved by people talking to each other like real people. So it was very frustrating because there's a lot of secrets that are kept that don't make sense really why they were kept, and it was very frustrating as the reader, wondering why those were kept. So one of the problems I have with Everless is the form of currency is coins. These coins are made from your blood, and which strangely doesn't bother me at all, but they're not just like coins that you exchange. They do, but they are also, you eat them. And I don't know if you guys work in retail or anything like that, but money is disgusting. And she literally talks about how people would drop an hour coin on the ground and people would go gather it up, and they're kept in pouches, they're not stored in any way, and if you put them in a liquid or like underwater to clean them, they dissolve. So like there's no way to clean these coins. It blows my mind. It's so gross. But whatever. That's beside the point. So the other weird thing about these coins is like people will like eat our coins, which doesn't really clearly make sense to me because, hey Sophie, because why would you just eat an hour? Sophie doesn't know either. Why would you just eat an hour coin? I mean, like, I get why you can't eat like 100 years because you weren't born 100 years ago and they like make you younger. But I don't understand why you would eat an hour. Especially like when you're super rich, like a lot of these people who are eating the hour coins are. I don't get it. Like, why are you eating an hour? Why not a 5-year coin like in the morning for fun? Like, I just don't understand, because it's not like it's making you look any younger. I don't know, maybe it gives you some weird feeling that they don't explain, but if you know, let me know, because I want to know. I'll go into the 3 things that I did like. I really liked the premise. I thought it was a really good setup, and it really kept my interest throughout the whole book. It's really probably the only thing that kept me going all the way through, is she kept creating, so this is number 2, she kept creating these questions that made you want to read on. Even if some of the answers were a bit disappointing, she still kept you asking questions and wanting to read more of the book. So that was number 2. 3, I really enjoyed, whereas I didn't enjoy Jules, I really enjoyed Liam. I felt he was very well crafted. He was very fleshed out, where I felt like a lot of the other characters were lacking. Liam felt like he was a complete character, and he was very interesting and has a good backstory, and I really liked Liam a lot. Okay, so that completes the spoiler section, or the non-spoiler section of the review. So if you don't want to know any spoilers, I would definitely stop now, and I'll give you a moment to do that. So bye all you people. So the problems I had in this book, there were so many problems, and ultimately that's why I gave it a 2.5 star review, is because I felt like there were so many problems. And just starting out, so Ever is my character, so I keep messing it up. Jules goes to Everless because she doesn't want her father spending any more money to pay the rent, or any more blood to pay the rent, because she doesn't know how much time he has left. So she goes to Everless because they're offering a good pay to help pay for their bills. And when she gets there, her father ends up coming to Everless to tell her not to go there. And he warns her not to ever get in touch with the queen, to stay away from her, don't let the queen see her. And so he's in the cellar. She's already made a lot of coin. For one, she doesn't give him the coin when she sees that he looks very sick and like he's dying, and she thinks that he's getting these delusions like a lot of people do when they're about to die. So she, instead of just giving him the coin that she carries with her, she keeps it and gives it to another guy, another kid, to get him out of the city. Okay, fine. I can deal with that. Whatever. So she gets him out of the city. Or no, he's leaving the city and she finds out that he dies. So he died leaving the city. And the problem I had here is that was her reason for going to Everless in the first place. Her father has now been there, was warning her to leave Everless, to stay away from the queen, and she still stays because she wants to know why he was trying to get into their vault. Okay, so then I have this problem. He is poor. They are poor. He wants his daughter out of the city. The first logical explanation that comes to my mind is he wants to get money to get her out of the city. And that's why you would be trying to get into a vault. Obviously later we find there's some book in there that he was apparently trying to get, but still that's not the first thing that you think of when you're thinking of a poor man trying to break into a vault. So that really frustrated me, is like the reasoning for her staying didn't make any sense in the context of what she knew and why he was there. It didn't make any sense on why she stayed. And then she goes to the next day or whatever, she goes to the timekeeper who has all of his basically belongings that he is to give her. And the only thing he gives her is a letter from her dad, because he says that none of his property or anything belongs to her. So she reads this letter, and he tells her that he is not actually her father, and she needs to stay away from the queen. She should leave Everless, and all this stuff. He basically reinforces it in this letter. So she's just learned that her father is not her father. And that feels like it'd be a shock. But the author doesn't even bring it up. It's not even brought up as like a problem. And it came off very unrealistic, because now she's just wondering what secrets her father was hiding about the queen. She's not even worried. She's not even wondering who she's been living with for the last 17 years. She has no idea who she's living with. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because she doesn't even think about it. If she would have maybe like sprinkled in something that says like, that made her seem worried about it, then I could understand it, but she doesn't. She doesn't bring any of that up. It was very frustrating. Very frustrating. And it made the first part of the book very hard to get through, just because I was wondering what the heck was going to happen later on, because she wasn't even making any logical decisions. It just made me worry about what the next part of the book was going to be if she was making these terrible decisions now. So anyways, she stays in Everless because now she's got to get close to the queen, even though her father has warned her several times to stay away, and this man isn't even her father, so whatever. She stays in Everless, and then we meet Rowan, and she is still infatuated with him, even though they haven't seen each other since they were 7, and it's just really, really weird. It's like creepy, stalkerish weird. And she sees him for the first time, and she's just like all lovey-dovey about him, and he's a very generic hot guy character. So they get talking through this whisper wall. It's basically this wall where if you're in one part of the castle, you can hear people talking on the other side of the castle, and you can communicate. And so they're talking through this whisper wall for the first time. They have no idea who each other are. Well, she knows who he is, but he doesn't know who she is. And they talk about her and their childhood as the first thing, and Rowan brings it up. So it just was a very unrealistic conversation to have with somebody through a wall who you have no idea who it is, and I just didn't like it. But the one thing that I found that I did not really care for is the author seemed to repeat herself a lot. And I'm not saying, like, I don't like to talk bad about books because of how I know how hard it is to write one. But it really bothered me when authors don't seem to know that their readers are smart and they remember things. And basically, we're introduced to the Whisper Wall the first time that Jules comes through the castle. So she's like telling about all these like different things, playing hide and seek and all this stuff, all these memories she's remembering as she's walking through the castle for the first time. Or she tells the story about the Whisper Wall and how it can be used. Well, when she's after her father's died and she's sitting against it crying and Rowan hears her, she then again tells the story about the Whisper Wall. And a little bit dulled down, but still same principle. Like, she could have just said, and then I realized when I heard his voice what wall I was sitting against. Like, she didn't have to go into the whole story again. And this didn't just happen once, like, it happened a few times, and that just drives me crazy. Because I know that happened. Like, I don't need you to tell me again. And then when they first actually meet, like, her thoughts and feelings about Rowan, it was just like, oh, honey, oh. Like, it was so cringy. It was very difficult to read through. And we just got to this scene where there has literally been no significant interactions between Rowan and Jules. None. And she just asked him if he's in love with Ina. And he says, since you've been in the castle, no. They have not seen each other since they were 7. 7 years old. This is like blowing my mind because there's no way that they have these feelings for each other. None. No, none. Because there hasn't been any actual interactions with them that really have shown any growth in their relationship. There's just these memories of when they used to play when they were kids. I can't deal with this kind of insta-love kind of things. It drives me crazy, and I just had to tell you guys about it. That's it. Another problem I had was when we finally got to Rowan dying, it did not hold the impact that I thought it could have, because the instant love was ridiculous, and I couldn't get behind that they actually cared about each other. And I know the point was that she didn't actually love him. I couldn't get behind it. I felt like it could have been very powerful, and it just wasn't. It was very, okay. Because he had no personality. He was just this ultra good guy with no flaws, and it was just very frustrating. So in general, her decision making and the relationships are really what lacked in this book for me. Like, there was a weird scene where she's trying to save Caro? Yeah, trying to save Caro, and instead of mixing the blood coin with a normal drink when she knows Caro is dying, even though she's not, but whatever. When she's mixing the drink for Caro, she doesn't take up tea or something for somebody who's literally on a bed dying. She takes wine and mixes the coin with wine, which is weird, right? Like, why would you mix the coin with wine when you could mix it with tea or literally any other drink for her to drink? So that's just a weird thing that I noticed that I thought was really weird and kind of ties in with Jules' decision making. And then later on, she ends up getting into the vault and since her main goal was to figure out why her dad was trying to get into this vault. So she finally gets into this vault, and there's blood coins everywhere, furthering my decision that I didn't just miss something, and that makes sense why people would try to get into that vault if you're poor. But anyway, she finds this book. The problem with her finding this book isn't the book in general. It's that she broke into this vault, and then she leaves the vault without the book. And she's like, oh no, I forgot the book in the vault. And then it's not really even a problem, because then Liam gives it to her later. So it didn't really make sense. I almost feel like it could have just been in like a bedroom or something that she found it. Maybe I missed something. If I missed something, like, go ahead and tell me in the comments below, because maybe I did miss things, and because I tend to read fast. So the other slight problem I had was that apparently her and Ina are sisters, and it's never mentioned that they look similar. It's never mentioned, and they're twins. So, like, I get you can have fraternal twins and not identical twins, but you'd think that they would have some similarities. And by the way, that was super obvious that they were going to be sisters, because they go to this like orphanage, and they're literally looking through the things, and they're like, oh, there's this week that's missing, and oh, we were born, they think she was born this day, and that's, oh, my birthday is only a few days after. And I was like, oh, well, they're sisters. Like, it was very obvious. It just bothered me that it didn't, like, they didn't make up any sort of, or the author didn't really communicate well, like, that they even look alike, that they had any similarities or anything like that. So that just kind of was another thing that really bothered me about this book. But like I said, I really liked the premise. Like, it had so much potential when I started it. Ultimately, I ended up giving it a 2.5-star review, but I might actually go through and read Evermore, because the ending actually really intrigued me, because now she is escaping Everless with Liam, which I really liked Liam. Like, I actually really like him. I think he's a very interesting character, so I would be interested in seeing this if he plays a big part in that story, and hopefully he can knock some common sense into her. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this vlog, and it was kind of an impromptu vlog that I wanted to make because I had a lot of feelings about Everless. Let me know what you thought in the comments, because I feel like this is a very unpopular opinion. Maybe I missed some things. Let me know. If you did like this video, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button. I don't know what side it's on, but I'd love that if you liked it. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.